Let's celebrate the new Dress It Up Periwinkle limited edition buttons with a project. Hello friends, May Flaum today, and for this project you're going to need a wooden dowel and a banner, fabric banner, and some felt, needle and thread, glue, and of course buttons from Dress It Up Buttons. Now, you could make your own little banner. You could also use a pencil or any other kind of plastic or wooden skewer of some sort to make your banner. This one's pretty small. It's only about 4 inches wide, maybe 5 inches wide. So it's a very small little banner, and you can create these on your own, of course. I am hand cutting my heart shapes because this is very low tech. If you have a die cutting machine, electronic die cutting machine, you could certainly use one of those, but I'm not. I'm just taking my felt and cutting it right out. And yes, this is just a beautiful metallic gold felt. And I'm also going to cut a smaller heart with purple. Now, I decided to use gold and purple to accent the periwinkle, which is sort of in between blue and purple. But a little later, I'm also going to use some blue. So again, I'm just cutting out just like I used to in school, cutting out my heart shapes. And remember, if it's not perfect on the first try, that's fine, because you're just going to want to trim it up and adjust it a little bit on the fly as you go, making whatever alterations you need to make. Now, if you have a sewing machine, the very fastest way to go about this is just stitch these hearts right on. If you don't, or if you don't want to, remember I said we're going to stay super low tech. I am just going to hand stitch these on with just straight little stitches. Super, super easy. And I'm going to use embroidery thread because that way I can use multiple strands and have a thicker look. On the larger heart, I'm going to be going, so you can see I pierce in, probably about a 1/4 inch in on the heart, and then I am ending the stitch right at the edge of the heart and the banner, and just going all the way around, trying to keep it even. But remember, this is handmade. We are not looking for perfection. We're just looking to take our time and have some fun crafting. Now, once I've gone all the way around the gold heart, I will turn to the purple heart, which I am going to do with just a little teeny tiny running stitch. So just little teeny tiny stitches back and forth or in a line there all the way down and around the heart. When I am done with this, you guessed it, we are going to get into embellishing with all those great buttons. Now, these buttons are Periwinkle in honor of Very Peri, the color of the year from Pantone. And they are limited, so when they're gone, they're gone. If you love this color the way I do, you will want to stock up. To embellish my banner here, and I intend to put this in my front hallway. I think it'll be super, super cute, hanging there, welcoming people. It could be conceived as Valentine's Day theme, but really, it's purple and blue, it's hearts, it's happy and welcome in my house at any time. You can stitch on your buttons. You can also glue on your buttons. And I am just going to be using, this is Liquid Fusion, which is just a very strong adhesive that does a good job of gluing buttons to fabric. There are lots of options out there. Use what you have, use what you like. And I'm just going to repeat this process, gluing various buttons. You can also, like I said, you can sew if you want them to be sewn. For me, it just kind of depends. I only wanted a little bit, so I only do that one button, sewing through and tying off the fibers. The others I really want stitched. And if there is a shank back, you would just want to snip that shank right off, which I will show you a little of in a little bit here, and snip that off as well. As you can see, sometimes I'm putting glue on the button. Sometimes I'm putting a dot of glue on the banner. It really just depends on the button size and location. I find the smaller ones, it's easier if I place the glue. I also find, like in this example here up at the top, I want to space them out fairly evenly. I found it was easier to go ahead and put the glue down first, then add the buttons in. Now, once this is all set, and of course, we're going to get those buttons out and get those buttons on there. And some of these, like those little rhinestone flowers that I'm putting right now, those do not have a shank back. So those ones just are flat embellishments, but most of the others are either a shank back or sew-through button. Now, when I've got all my buttons in place, or I think I do, and I've let the glue dry, I'm going to go ahead and add more stitching because I decided around the edge some kind of periwinkle blue stitching would really tie this all together. So again, you can see this is just a running stitch. We're just going in and out. No special skills needed, no experience needed. If you can hold the needle and pull the thread, you are good to go. And again, this is embroidery thread that I am working with. And as you can see, I'm just going, I know I've got my concentration face on, but I do try to concentrate because I do try to keep my stitches at least fairly even. Again, perfection is not the goal here, but I do like it to be fairly even. Once that's all the way done, it's time to top it off. Now, I have got some fairy silk from our sister company, Jessie James Beads. I also have some pretty periwinkle blue seed beads that I'll be tying in. Now, for this, the fairy silk, I'm just going to tie a double knot on either side of my little dowel here. Now, you can do lots of things here. If you want to make little dangles that hang off the dowel, if you want to do special things, that's your call. Me, I like to tie a little bit of fiber like this or some kind of trim, and then I'll hang this from that trim at the top center of the trim. That'll be where it hangs from. Now, like I said before, I've got a couple of little seed beads here. So I'm threading these onto my thread along with, you guessed it, another product from Dress It Up Buttons, a periwinkle tassel, just to have a little something dangling here. Now, you might notice on the right there, there's a unicorn that I was thinking about using. I end up not using that unicorn, but there's no harm in taking out your buttons and checking out what you like, what you don't like, seeing what works for you, and deciding before you get that glue out. Now, as you can see up at the top, I am tying some thread, the two ends of that thread that I just used for the tassel, tying it through a button. This is going to secure the tassel and the beads onto that end of the fairy silk, but it's also just another added layer of decoration, of detail. And I'm putting just a little tiny bit of glue on there just to be extra, extra secure. Once this is done, you guessed it, we are ready to display. Look at that fun gold and the purple and everything with all that periwinkle and all those little hand stitch details. To me, just so much fun to create with. And I absolutely love every single one of these buttons that Dress It Up Buttons has released. I hope you've enjoyed this project tutorial. Be sure to subscribe to Dress It Up Buttons so you don't miss any of the future videos. See you next time.